What if I told you that the voice inside your head, the one that narrates your entire life, judges every situation, and never seems to stop talking, is not actually you? That sounds strange, maybe even a little unsettling. But once you truly understand this one idea, nothing about the way you experience your mind will ever be the same again. This is the foundation of one of the most transformative spiritual books ever written. In The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Chapter 1. The Voice. Inside Your Head. Singer drops what I can only describe as a philosophical bomb on the very first page. He asks you to do something radically simple. Just notice that there is a voice in your head, and then ask yourself, who is the one noticing it? That question alone has changed thousands of lives. And today, we are going to go deep into exactly what Singer is pointing to, why it matters more than almost anything else you will ever learn about yourself, and how this single insight can begin to untether you from a lifetime of unnecessary mental suffering. Stay with me, because this one is going to shift something inside you. The voice that never stops talking. Let's start at the very beginning of what Michael Singer introduces. There is a voice in your head. You know the one. It wakes up with you in the morning and immediately starts running commentary. It says things like, I don't want to get up. What do I have to do today? Did I say the wrong thing yesterday? What is that person going to think of me? I should eat better. Why did I do that? I need to call my mum back. It never pauses. It never takes a breath. It just keeps going, all day long, and often well into the night when you are trying to sleep. Most of us have lived our entire lives so close to this voice that we have completely confused it with ourselves. We think we are the voice. We think those thoughts are our identity, our personality, our inner truth. But Singer invites you to stop and really examine this for a moment. Have you ever noticed that you can actually hear the voice? Have you ever caught yourself listening to what it says, sometimes even disagreeing with it? Have you ever thought, why do I keep thinking about that? Or, I wish my brain would just be quiet for a second. Here is where it gets profound. If you can hear the voice, if you can observe it, if you can sometimes argue with it, then you cannot be the voice. You are the one who is aware of it. You are the one listening. The voice is something happening inside of you, but it is not the core of who you are. Singer uses a wonderfully grounding analogy here. He asks you to imagine having a roommate who follows you around all day and comments on literally everything. Not just the big stuff, everything. The way your coffee tastes, whether your shirt looks right, what that stranger across the street might be thinking about you, whether your life is going in the right direction. If someone actually followed you around, doing this out loud, you would have them removed from your home immediately. You would never tolerate it. And yet, we tolerate this exact behavior from the voice inside our own heads every single day without question, without objection, and without even recognizing that it is happening. This is not a small observation. This is the starting point of an entirely new relationship with your own mind. The moment you genuinely see that the voice is not you, that you are the awareness behind it, everything begins to open up. And that opening is exactly what The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, Chapter 1. The voice inside your head is designed to create. You are the witness, not the voice. So if you are not the voice, then who are you? This is the question that Chapter 1 is really building toward, and it is one of the most important questions a human being can ask. Singer's answer is both simple and staggering. You are the one who is aware. You are consciousness itself. You are the silent witness who is watching everything, including the voice unfold. Think about this for a moment. Right now, as you watch this video, you are aware of the words being spoken to you. You are also aware of whatever feelings or reactions might be arising in you. You might be aware of a slight tension in your shoulders or a flicker of recognition when something resonates. You are aware of all of it. But who or what is doing that awareness? That awareness itself, that quiet, watching presence. That is what Singer is pointing to when he says, you. He calls this the subject. Everything else in your experience, your thoughts, your emotions, your sensations, your memories, your opinions, those are all objects that arise within your awareness. They come and go. But the awareness itself, the one who is watching, that does not come and go. It is always there. It was there when you were 5 years old, watching your thoughts. And it is here right now watching them, as you listen to this. This distinction between the witness and the witnessed is not just philosophical wordplay. It has enormous practical implications. When you are identified with the voice, when you believe you are your thoughts, every anxious thought becomes a crisis. Every self-critical thought becomes the truth about who you are. Every fearful thought feels like a real threat that demands your immediate attention and energy. You become completely at the mercy of whatever the voice decides to say next. But when you recognize yourself as the witness, something remarkable happens. The thoughts still arise. Singer is very clear that becoming the witness does not make the voice disappear. But your relationship to those thoughts completely transforms. You can watch an anxious thought arise and simply notice it without being consumed by it. You can hear the inner critic speak without automatically believing everything it says. You gain what Singer describes as a kind of inner distance, a space between you and your mental chatter. And that space, small as it might seem at first, is the beginning of genuine freedom. It is the first foundational step in everything that The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer teaches across its entire journey. Why the voice says what it says. Now, some of you might be wondering, okay, if the voice is not me, then what is it? Where does it come from? And why does it say the things it does? Singer addresses this beautifully, and understanding it adds a tremendous layer of compassion to this whole inquiry. The voice in your head is essentially a narrator that your mind has developed over your entire lifetime. Its primary job is to make sense of the world and to protect you. It takes in every experience you have ever had, every belief you have been taught, every fear you have developed, every wound you have accumulated. And it uses all of that material to generate a running commentary on your present moment experience. When you walk into a room full of strangers, the voice immediately starts sorting through its database. It checks, are these people safe? Do they seem like people who will accept me or reject me? What do I need to say or do to be okay here? It is trying to help in its own way. It is trying to keep you safe and comfortable. The problem is that it operates primarily from past data, from old experiences, old fears, old stories, and it applies all of that to the present moment, whether it is relevant or not. This is why the voice can be so relentlessly negative and critical. It is not being negative because it is evil or broken. It is being negative because its primary programming is to anticipate problems and keep you out of danger. From a survival standpoint, this made a lot of sense for our ancestors. But in modern life, where most of us are not facing physical threats on a daily basis, this same mechanism becomes a source of constant low-level anxiety and mental noise. Singer also points out that the voice creates an elaborate inner narrative, a kind of ongoing story about who you are, what life means, what other people think, and whether things are going well or badly. This narrative gives us a feeling of coherence and control, but it also keeps us locked inside a mental construct rather than genuinely experiencing life as it is actually happening right now. Understanding why the voice does what it does allows you to stop fighting it and start observing it with curiosity instead of frustration. You are not broken because you have mental chatter. You are completely human. The work is not to silence the voice by force. It is to change your relationship with it entirely. And that begins with simply seeing it clearly, which is the entire gift of Chapter 1, the moment of recognition that changes everything. There is a specific moment that Singer describes, and many readers and listeners have reported experiencing this for the first time while reading Chapter 1, that I want to really land for you, because it is genuinely life-changing when it clicks. It is the moment you catch the voice in the act. Not just intellectually acknowledge that there is a voice, but actually pause mid-thought and observe it happening in real time. You are walking to your car, running through some mental scenario about a conversation that happened 3 days ago, replaying what you said, what you should have said, what the other person was thinking, and suddenly, something shifts. There is a moment of pure awareness. You step back, almost involuntarily, and you see the whole thing, as if from above. You see the thought. You see yourself getting pulled into the thought, and you see the awareness that is watching all of it. In that moment, something Singer calls in later chapters the seat of consciousness becomes briefly and unmistakably obvious. You were not the worrying thoughts. You were the one watching the worrying thoughts. And for just a second, there was a profound sense of relief, of space, of quiet. Not because the thoughts stopped, but because you were no longer completely identified with them. Singer calls this a moment of awakening. Not awakening in some grand final sense, but a small, practical, accessible awakening that is available to every single person reading his words or hearing them described. This is not reserved for monks or mystics or people who have spent 20 years meditating in a cave. This is available to you right now, in the middle of your ordinary life. And what makes The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer so powerful is that Singer is not asking you to believe a doctrine or adopt a philosophy. He is asking you to look at your own direct experience. He is saying, just notice what is actually happening inside you. Notice the voice. Notice who is noticing. That's it. Start there. Because once you genuinely start there, once you really get this, you realize that you have been living inside a story that you did not write consciously, narrated by a voice you never chose and accepted as truth without ever questioning it. And the moment you see that, you also see that it does not have to stay that way. You have always been free. You just did not know you were looking through the cage bars from the outside. How to begin practicing this in your daily life? Understanding this concept intellectually is one thing, but Singer is very practical. And the real invitation of Chapter 1 is to begin actually applying this awareness in your daily life. So let's talk about what that looks like in practice, because this is where the transformation becomes real. The first practice is simply to notice. Throughout your day, in the car, in line at the grocery store, in a meeting, lying in bed, take small moments to just observe the voice. Do not try to change what it is saying. Do not argue with it, analyze it, or follow its train of thought down the rabbit hole. Just notice that it is talking. Notice the tone. Notice what kinds of subjects it gravitates toward. Is it mostly worrying, mostly criticizing, mostly planning and strategizing? Just watch it like you would watch clouds moving across a sky. This sounds almost too simple to be meaningful, but it is incredibly powerful. Because the act of noticing, the act of stepping into the observer position, even for just a few seconds, begins to create that crucial separation between you and the voice. You are training yourself to know the difference between being swept up in thought and watching thought. Over time, that separation becomes more natural, more accessible, more automatic. The second practice that flows from Singer's teaching is to stop taking the voice so seriously. This does not mean ignoring genuinely important thoughts. Of course, you need to think about real problems and plan for real situations. But so much of what the voice says is not useful. It is repetitive, it is based on fear, it is replaying the past or catastrophizing the future. When you catch yourself in one of these loops, you can gently remind yourself, this is just the voice. This is not the truth of the present moment. You do not have to follow every thought all the way down its path. And the third practice, perhaps the most liberating of all, is to begin asking throughout your day, who is aware of this? Whatever you are experiencing, a difficult emotion, a racing thought, a beautiful moment, pause and ask, who or what is aware of this right now? That question points you back to the witness, back to the consciousness that is your true home, the one Singer writes about so eloquently in the pages that follow Chapter 1. The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Chapter 1. The voice inside your head is not just a chapter, it is a doorway. And once you walk through it with genuine curiosity and openness, the entire landscape of your inner life begins to transform in ways that are difficult to fully put into words, but that you will absolutely recognize when they begin to happen. CTA. So there you have it, the core insights from Chapter 1 of The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. The voice in your head is not you. You are the awareness behind it. And that one recognition, simple as it sounds, is the seed of genuine, lasting inner freedom. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever had one of those moments where you caught the voice in the act and stepped back from it? What was that like? Drop it in the comments below. I read every single one, and your experience might be exactly what someone else in this community needs to hear today. If this resonated with you, please give this video a like. It genuinely helps more people find this content, and honestly, more people need to hear this. And if you are not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell notification, because we are going chapter by chapter through The Untethered Soul. And the next chapter goes even deeper. We are talking about your actual identity, what Singer calls the roommate in your head, and why silencing it is not the goal at all. You do not want to miss that one. Thank you so much for being here, for showing up for yourself today, and for taking this journey inward. I will see you in the next video.